You trust your senses, you trust your memories, you trust your thoughts. But you probably shouldn't, because your brain isn't designed to show you the truth. It's designed to keep you safe, efficient, predictable. And the only way it can do that is by filtering the world into something you can handle, even if it's not real. What you think is reality is actually a mental simulation stitched together from past experiences, emotional habits, and unconscious predictions. You don't hear your partner, you hear your expectation of them. You don't see the situation. You see your emotional history with it. You don't feel the present moment. You feel your interpretation of it. This is why you can't fully trust your brain. It doesn't just take in reality, it predicts, edits, and distorts it before you ever become aware. That's why people stay stuck in patterns. Because if something feels familiar, even if it's toxic, your brain will choose it over something unfamiliar that might be good. You'll stay in unhealthy dynamics because they match your emotional blueprint. You'll reject opportunities that contradict your self-image. You'll sabotage growth because safety feels like sameness. It's not that you're lazy, it's that your brain is optimizing for survival, not clarity. Let's talk about why your brain filters out what it thinks you can't handle, how this built-in protection becomes your biggest limitation, and how to start recognizing the ways your brain hides the truth to keep you comfortable. But first, if you're finding this valuable, hit like button and subscribe. Let's continue. Because if you want to build a new life, you have to question the internal narrator running the old one. Most people think they're avoiding the truth because they're weak, but that's not it. You avoid the truth because your brain edits it out before you even see it. Your brain is constantly asking, will this information threaten our emotional or physical safety? If the answer is yes, your mind either distorts it, rationalizes it, or completely blocks it. You won't see the manipulation if admitting it would collapse a relationship. You won't feel the resentment if acknowledging it would destroy a role you're playing. You won't question your path if doing so would force you to rebuild your identity. So instead of clarity, you get numbness, overthinking, or false certainty. Not because you're broken, but because your brain made a deal. Let's only see what we can survive. This is especially true after unresolved emotional trauma. Your perception shrinks, your tolerance for contradiction weakens, and your brain begins filtering reality through a lens of self-protection. Even if life has changed, the internal model hasn't. And until that model updates, you'll keep responding to the world as if you're still in danger, even when you're not. Here's the trap. You'll miss out on real opportunities because they don't match your past. You'll misread people's intentions based on old wounds. You'll replay patterns because your brain is still using yesterday's instructions. You can't grow into a new version of life if you're still seeing it through an outdated lens. Most people think memory is like a camera. It's not. It's more like a storyteller with a bad sense of time, strong emotions, and an agenda. You don't remember events. You remember your emotional interpretation of events. And every time you recall a memory, your brain rewrites it slightly, adjusting the details to match your current identity. So over time, you're not recalling the past, you're recalling the last time you remembered it. And yet, your emotions still respond as if it's happening now. Your brain doesn't care about accuracy, it cares about what to expect next. So if you were rejected once, your brain says, let's assume rejection is likely, that way we're not surprised. You hesitate to speak up because your brain remembers judgment. You turn down a risk because your brain remembers failure. You avoid love because your brain remembers loss. It doesn't matter if those memories are true. What matters is that your brain believes them. And that belief becomes your emotional baseline. You're not trapped in the past. You're trapped in how your brain interpreted the past. And because your brain wants consistency, it keeps seeking out situations that match your memories, just to stay right. That's not fate. That's feedback from an old version of reality, because until you update the brain's model, you'll keep living in a loop you didn't choose. By now you can see the pattern. Your brain filters information, it protects you by limiting perception, it reinforces emotional memories, and it does all of this to maintain internal consistency, not external truth. But the deepest layer of all is belief. Because beliefs are the invisible code your brain uses to decide what's real. If you believe people are dangerous, your brain will only highlight betrayal and ignore kindness. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll downplay success and focus on moments of rejection. If you believe growth equals disconnection, you'll slow yourself down just to avoid outgrowing people you love. These beliefs may be unconscious, but your brain is still obeying them. Not because they're true, but because they've never been questioned. Here's what makes belief so powerful and so dangerous. The brain would rather protect a familiar lie than risk the discomfort of truth. That's why it's so hard to change. Admitting your worldview was wrong requires grief. Rebuilding your sense of self requires vulnerability. Seeing the world clearly requires emotional capacity, not just intellect, which is why most people stay in the loop, even when they know it's keeping them small. The good news? Your brain isn't the enemy. It's a loyal narrator trained by your past. And the moment you start questioning the script, you interrupt the loop. You pause before reacting, you explore other meanings, you challenge the rules you never agreed to. And slowly, you stop living in the version of reality that was handed to you, and start building one that's actually yours. If this hit something real, comment below. I'm ready to question the narrator. And subscribe for more videos like this, because sometimes it only takes one shift in awareness to unlock everything you thought was out of reach. This video is for educational and motivational purposes only. It does not constitute mental health or medical advice. Please consult a professional for support with trauma or psychological challenges.